Okay, this video is going to be about the Kepler telescope and the discovery NASA made, or claims to have made last week over the last 5 years since Kepler's been in orbit. Kepler's approximately 15 feet long. It carries 42 cameras, and supposedly it's found all these exoplanets. It's in the orbit's way far out from where we're at, and supposedly that keeps the light from Earth from affecting it. So I'll just let this down here for a little bit. Now, we're going to talk about the distances involved, but first, let's talk about the release of this data. So, NASA built this up for a few days, and they planned the release of this to coincide with the release of the new Star Wars movie. So they released it last Thursday at about 3 p.m. Eastern time. So you had 2 hours to get all excited about it, how they found exoplanets, all these exoplanets and solar systems that are just like ours, and there's, you know, hundreds of them all over that we found with using Kepler. Well, they did that specifically so you get all excited and go to the Star Wars movie and imagine, you know, all this stuff's going on, and that NASA needs money to find and talk to these people so we can contact Yoda and the Emperor and Darth Vader and all this other stuff. Let's talk about some of the problems involved with the distance. So the nearest star from us is Proxima Centauri. It's in the Alpha Centauri star system. It's about 4+ light years away. I'm going to use just two of these, and then I'm going to talk about another one where they claim to have found the solar system just like ours, HAT P7b, which is an 11 light years away. Now, first, let's talk about the size of the sun and the Earth. So this is just the raw numbers from NASA about the size of the Earth, and but let's put it down to a thing you can do. So I actually worked these distance out at the size of a marble. This is a little bit bigger than a marble, but I'm erring on their side. So this is a Kaiser Wilhelm solid silver coin from World War I, and this is good. At this scale, this is going to represent the sun. Now, you could fit 109 Earths across the Kaiser's face and across this coin. Now, the Earth from this coin would be 110 diameters of this coin. So that would be about basically my arm's length from one side to the other, from where if I held the Kaiser in one hand and something real small, and it would actually be the size of a letter on here, would be about the size of the Earth. So that's your scale there, just from the Earth to the sun. Now, if you were to take this same coin and it's the sun, and put it to the nearest star, which would be Proxima Centauri, that would be another Kaiser Wilhelm coin, would be 72 miles from here. Now, I'm in San Antonio, Texas. 72 miles from here up I-35 north would be a little bit north of Buda, Texas. And that's Proxima Centauri. Okay? Now, the one that they're claiming there's one exactly like our system is this HAT, and it is 11 light years away. So at this scale, I'm in San Antonio with this Kaiser Wilhelm coin. The star they're claiming would be in Tallahassee, Florida, down I-10, going to the Atlantic Ocean in the panhandle of Florida. And that's where the other star is. And then the planets are the little bitty markings on here, all the way in the damn panhandle of Florida. Now, you're taking a whole lot of stuff on faith. Let's talk about, there's two things I want you to do homework on. One is called Olber's paradox, and the other is the inverse square law. Now remember, as these waves are leaving that sun, it's a solid mass of light, but as it moves further and further away, the light doesn't fill in. It starts going off and propagating. So there's nothing filling it in. Now, if it didn't, the entire sky would be filled with the light from just one star. That hence Olber's paradox. But it's not. We're getting, you know, something from HAT P7b the whole Earth's only getting, you know, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 streams of protons, of photons, and the Kepler, which is only 15 feet long, and the opening's only this big. How many streams of photons of light do you think it's receiving from this thing that's all the way in Tallahassee from San Antonio at this size? Now remember, at this size, the Earth's only like one of these small markings. The Kepler telescope, which is around the Earth, wouldn't even be the size of a quark at that scale. So it's getting information from something in Tallahassee, Florida at this scale, and it's inferring planets from it. Well, doesn't work. You're taking so much stuff on faith from NASA, it's not even funny. Now, I'm going to try to do something else to explain this here. So I'm going to have a balloon, and I'm going to put a bunch of dots all over it. And this is going to represent the light coming off the star as it's coming out. While I'm blowing this balloon up, you can check this thing out here. It's pretty cool. So this is one of the handwritten drawings from Wernher von Braun. I got some requests about this, that I moved the stuff too fast last time. You didn't have time to check it out. So while I'm blowing this balloon up, I'm gonna get you close in on some of his hand drawings about the Saturn, what the Saturn rocket would look like, and his sketches. And this is actual Wernher von Braun sketch. So that blown up balloon with all the dots on it, the dots stretch out. You know, I marked them all over, and I marked them pretty close on the balloon. But the farther out you go, the more they stretch out. You know, and so by the time that, you know, and this would be probably a light year out. So by the time you get 11 light years out, it's getting real sketchy. Remember, it's going in all different directions. The light's getting weaker, and that's assuming you're not running into any interplanetary dust, any interplanetary ice. Any solid object is going to affect the light. Now, you know, light, they call it the supreme informant. But you know, the Fraunhofer lines is where you get the spectral analysis. You know, that's assuming it doesn't hit an ice crystal out in interplanetary space, which is a big assumption at these distances, that it didn't hit anything. And then, you know, we have ice particles supposedly in the Kuiper belt around the Earth, that there's all kinds of ice out there. So kind of sketchy that they can claim all these planets out there. It's just a money grab. Another thing I want to throw out there, and here's my website, timbosplace.com. Kepler basically got all his data from Tycho Brahe. Now, Tycho Brahe took on Kepler as an assistant, and then he threw him out after a year because he was just batshit crazy, basically. And Tycho kept asking, and Kepler kept asking to bring him back. And finally he did. Well, all of a sudden he dies real suddenly. He was in good health. He was in his early 50s, but he was healthy. And then they found traces of mercury in his mustache. So he was poisoned by mercury. And who benefits? Cui bono? Kepler did. Kepler stole all his data from Tycho Brahe and claimed it as his own. There's books on the murder of Tycho Brahe if you want to check it out. But basically Kepler just stole everything from Tycho Brahe, murdered him, and then he got the patronage of Tycho Brahe's patron, who liked the budding science of astronomy, and basically just stole everything and killed Brahe. So yeah, the legacy of the space program is, especially NASA, is deceit. I'm going to close up here on this drawing from Wernher von Braun. You can pause it. I think I've got it steady enough where you can see everything. But yeah, like I said, look into Olber's paradox. They're basing all this stuff on a 15-foot long Kepler observatory. Oh, and by the way, they're claiming that, let me throw this in there too. So here's something else to keep in mind. So it's been in orbit 5 years. And if you look at the orbits of, obviously it takes a solar year for the Earth to go around the sun. It takes 11 for Jupiter. And the further you go out, the further. Now, they say the one is an exact same, basically a carbon copy of our solar system. So it hasn't been in orbit long enough to find anything past really where the orbit of Mars would be. If it met it on this side, it would already be. It wouldn't be even on. It wouldn't even be come back on the other side of it. So they're making tons of assumptions to get money from you, and they also claim to have found planets around a star 6,910 light years away. And remember, the one from here at this diameter, this scale, is from San Antonio to Tallahassee, Florida, and that's at 11 light years away. Now multiply that out times 6,910 light years. It's 600 times further out. Don't believe it. It's all a lie. Anyway, check out timbosplace.com. Please subscribe to this. I'd appreciate it if you would. Thank you. I'm out.